Good afternoon and welcome to Flintfield's Horse Park. Very lovely Traverse City as we gear up for our second international class of the afternoon as we continue our Major League Show Jumping Week here in the Turtle Creek Casino International Ring. Two-star Grand Prix action up next, $37,000 up for grabs in this afternoon's competition, sponsored by Cabana. Traverse City Horse Shows and Major League Show Jumping are grateful for the generous sponsorship of today's $37,000 two-star Grand Prix. Thanks to Cabana, a longest-standing partner of the Traverse City Horse Shows and Major League Show Jumping. Cabana plays a major role in providing entertainment to those watching today's event live and in person, sponsoring and furnishing the Cabana Club on the Grand Prix lawn. Thank you to our friends at Cabana for the continued support of our shows and of the equestrian sport. Traverse City Horse Shows is committed to giving back to the community surrounding Flintfield's Horse Park, and 100% of the ticket sales from each week's Grand Prix go to charity organizations in the area that help make positive change. And this week's recipient of proceeds is Interlochen Center for the Arts. Giving back to those in need is at the core of Traverse City Horse Show's values. That's why we are proud to work with Captive One and Just World to bring you Clear for the Cause. During today's Grand Prix, Captive One makes a $100 donation to Just World each time a horse and rider combination clears both the Just World and Captive One jumps during competition. All money raised will go to improving the livelihoods of impoverished children around the world. Traverse City Horse Shows is proud to partner with Captive One Advisors to offer a $30,000 rider bonus for open jumper riders. The bonus is determined based on points accumulated in classes held at 1.45 m or greater throughout the Traverse City Spring Horse Shows, the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival, and the Traverse City Fall Shows. The bonus will be presented following the American Gold Cup Grand Prix presented by Captive One Advisors on September 18th. Kathleen Driscoll and the lead so far for that open rider bonus presented by Captive One Advisors. Margie Engel in second, Beat Manley third, Sydney Shulman Desiderio fourth, Kent Farrington currently in fifth, and Amanda Derbyshire in sixth. And we'd like to thank Captive One for their sponsorship of the rider bonus. Captive One is a family of companies that assesses, forms, and manages captive insurance companies. With a captive insurance company that you own, instead of paying premiums to a commercial carrier, you pay premiums to your captive. Any money that is not utilized or paid in claims stays in reserves, can be invested, and may become profit in your captive. For feasibility review, business owners can go to captiveone.com.
The Captive One leading rider bonus, and all change at the top with a new #1 rider. Kathleen, who's been notching up the wins in Traverse City, has very swiftly moved to the top of the lineup. Only slightly ahead of Margie Engel, and Margie is very hard to hold back. Others still in the frame for our top four, including Beat Manley of Switzerland, still up in the top group after a great start in the early shows. So with just a 2-point advantage, Kathleen Driscoll goes into this week as the #1.
Explainer video to explain to you all what to expect here this afternoon. CSI 2-star Grand Prix presented by Cabana Coast.
So how does it all work? The key elements of show jumping is it's all about the fours. 4 faults for a fence down often puts you out of the equation. A stop on course, a refusal, also means 4 faults on the scorecard. The key to a successful run in a big class is going cleanly around the track. That's jumping all the fences inside the time allows. They also have to move up a pace as well to make sure they don't pick up time faults on the way. It's not easy, it's tough, but that's what it's all about. And if you get the big jumping right, well, you're in to the jump off. The jump off the decider over a shortened course, so less fences in this round, and the winner is the one that's fastest over the track and leaves them all up to claim the top prize.
So we are just about 5 minutes away from the first on course, and first round in today's Cabana Coast Grand Prix begins over the Southern Arches Oxer at the top of the ring. Premier Equestrian Vertical at fence number 2 comes up following a right-handed turn around to number 12. Bending left to number 3, the Cabana Coast Oxer, and the riders will ride back up the ring on the diagonal line from 4, the Captive 1 Advisors Vertical, to the combination at 5AB. Vertical to an Oxer there at 5AB. Correction, Oxer to a vertical there at 5AB with the flower wings. And from there, riders will turn right up the ring to number 6 to the Major League Show Jumping Oxer. Riding back down at 7, the Net Jets Oxer to the Platinum Performance Vertical at 8 on that bending left-hand line. Number 9, the Eagle Oxer riding past the gate to 10, the Just World Vertical. Then the triple combination vertical Oxer vertical with the Swan wings turning home. That final line at 12 with the Night Sky wings and the thin plank on top, and then the Turtle Creek Casino Oxer at number 13, finalizing that first round of competition. All told is 16 efforts, numbered 1 through 13, and the time allowed is 78 seconds. And round 1 of our Cabana Coast 2-star Grand Prix. Our officials, John Rush, president of the jury, Phil Rozon on hand, as well as Andrea Herschel and Kevin Giblin, our course designers, Cedric Longy and Andy Christensen. Approaching our start time. Again, we'd like to thank Cabana Coast for sponsoring today's $37,000 2-star Grand Prix. We're grateful for the generous sponsorship of today's class. A long-standing partner of the Traverse City Horse Shows and Major League Show Jumping, Cabana Coast plays a major role in providing entertainment to those watching today's event live and in person, sponsoring and furnishing the Cabana Coast Club on the Grand Prix lawn. Thank you to our friends at Cabana Coast for the continued support of our shows and the equestrian sport. If you would please rise and remove cover for the Star-Spangled Banner ahead of our first combination on course.
Prix on our schedule today here in the Turtle Creek Casino International Ring. The second will be our five-star competition, $216,000 show jumping competition. We'll be with that around 6 o'clock this evening. And don't forget that we're going to get a party going tonight after that. Make sure show jumping Grand Prix National Show Plus celebration, reception, everything out there. Baylor's Coast Club, snack and drinks will be provided courtesy of Show Plus. Show Plus is the generosity of Manacruz and as well for sponsoring our furniture. And today's $37,000 star Grand Prix.
Well, good afternoon everybody and welcome to another fantastic class here in Traverse City in this Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring. This afternoon we're bringing you the $37,000 Cabana Coast 2-star Grand Prix. This really is the pinnacle of the week for the 2-star competitors. They've been competing throughout the different 2-star competitions all the way through this week's action, culminating in this 2-star Grand Prix. This is what they really wanted to get to. Our first rider is already in the ring. This is Karime Perez Nunez, who rides Cabana K, a 12-year-old mare by Clarimo. I am joined by Tori Bilas, and we'll be taking you through this class.
Thank you for the introduction. Yeah, these athletes, I think we saw a bit of a glimpse of what's to come on, I believe that was Thursday. They had their speed class and it just kept getting more competitive with every horse that came in the ring. I mean, really top combinations here in this 2-star level. I think, you know, because we have the 5-star action, a lot of these top riders have brought their top horses, and then also some up-and-coming horses. We're going to see some younger mounts, and then a few less experienced riders bringing their horses up through the levels, maybe, you know, one of their first 2-star events. So I think it's just going to be a good mix of, you know, really top riding, really a glimpse of the future of our sport.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, some of these horses have actually competed to quite, you know, considerably higher levels than this, and so it's really interesting to see these partnerships develop. I mean, this horse Cabana K has had some good results up to 4-star in Mexico. They jumped here in July, I believe, as well, to one top 10 finish in a previous 2-star. But certainly going well here so far. All fences staying up. 13 obstacles we have here.
Clear over the fences. I believe that's our first clear round.
Yep, nothing to add. A clear round from our first rider, as you say, 73.33. She is within the time of the time allowed. What a great start.
That is a great way to start. She looks thrilled. I mean, coming off of she had a top 10 finish earlier this season with this horse and had not really had some top results since then, so I think she's probably just very pleased. It's a big accomplishment for her right there.
Yeah, for sure. And of course what they are really trying to do is to get into the jump off, but we have quite a way to go. We've actually got 49 horse and rider combinations on our list. And they're also representing countries from all over the world. We've got Canadian, American, Colombian, Bolivian competitors, as well as some from Europe, from Ireland, and also some from Israel. So it's a really international field. It's lovely to see so many horses and riders coming from quite far-flung places here.
We do have quite the international field here. I think we saw a bit of that last night in that Major League team competition. Also, a bit of a preview for tonight's 5-star Grand Prix. Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix, going to be a lot of exciting international athletes there. I think, you know, this season has been building for a long time, and while we've had a diverse field, this is about as diverse as we've ever seen it.
Yeah, definitely. As you say, that 5-star Major League Show Jumping team competition really had the crowd and the spectators going, and I'm sure everybody enjoyed it on the live stream as well. Brilliant win, a second win of the season for Team Helios. They are looking like the ones to beat.
Well, they definitely are now. They've won 2 in a row. I mean, they were just, I mean, literally on fire. They're the Helios, so it makes sense. It's fitting. And I mean, I haven't seen a team that excited to win in a while. They were just beside themselves yesterday, and it was well deserved. They had quite the performance.
Absolutely. Well, our next rider is in the ring now, of course. This is Taylor St. Jacks with Jack Gilly, riding for Canada. This pair had a really good 4th place in Lexington back in June, but I believe this horse was previously ridden by Tal Milstein.
Yeah, I think you're correct. This horse actually, prior to this week, had a 100% clear round rate up to the meter 40 level. Had yet to jump meter 45. I think, we have a few fences that might be a little higher than meter 40 in this class, so we'll see how it performs, but already off to a great start. Still a young horse, but Taylor, a very capable rider. Incredible equitation background for this rider, and just using that equitation strength to take her into the higher levels of the jumpers. So we'll see kind of how this class continues to unfold. We've already seen one clear, but I know we'll start to see some rails drop as more riders come forth.
It's quite a nice flowing course, isn't it? But there are a few places where they can take a bit more of they can change their lines. They can take a bit of a tighter line or give the horses a bit more space depending on their preferences, really.
There definitely are a few options here. I think that, the line she just rode, 7 to 1 to 7, that I think we'll see pretty consistently. This line might change up a little bit. When we see her drop the first rail of that fence, it's a bit of a flat 6 to a skinny. I think we'll see a lot of horses do 7 there. That might be kind of the automatic choice unless your horse has a really big stride and can move up and slow down in 6. Just to protect that really skinny rail, we might see that come down a bit. So Taylor continuing on the 4. I think this triple combination is a bit inviting. It gets a tad tight towards the end, so some of those bigger strided horses might have to be a little more careful, but Taylor jumps it quite nicely, just continuing home on the 4. Another option there, she rode it really nicely in a bit of a forward 6. That's another one that, because those rails are a bit skinnier, we've seen those rails fall a lot this season, those black and gray ones, and for horses that might not have the step to cover that up, we could see 7 there.
Third up the gate is Leland Kerban.
Yeah, definitely. Just that one fence down, so it's a 4 for Taylor St. Jack's and Jack Gilly. 1 through the jump off, only 2 riders have competed. And as you say, especially at quite a late part of the course to have that triple combination, the horses have perhaps got a little bit longer, a little bit more strung out, and there's quite a lot of questions later on.
Definitely. I think, it's a welcoming start, especially with this rampy oxer to begin over the Southern Arches fence that Layla Kurbanov is jumping at the moment. And then the first few distances are just fairly, you can kind of make them work for your own horse. There aren't too many terrible challenges. And then, like you said, the triple combination at the end, some of these horses are younger and haven't jumped classes quite of this caliber, so it could be that they get a little tired and their concentration is a little less than what it should be. But then it could also help some young horses who might take a minute to get more comfortable in the ring. So maybe by 12, or whatever number it is, 11 ABC, they're a little more comfortable and ready to take on that challenge.
First rider for the USA, and now this is Layla Kurbanov with Ronya. This is quite a new partnership. Haven't seen them jumping internationally too much yet. Horse is an 11-year-old mare by Contour and is owned by Ilan Ferder.
We actually saw this pair win in the 2-star 2-phase just the other day. And it was the 1-year anniversary of the first day that she sat on this horse. She tried this horse just last year here in Traverse City, and it was a bit of a match made in heaven. She had been searching for a horse for a long time, and this proved to be her soulmate.
Going really nicely there as well. Just 1 for time as well, 78.44. So just a fraction over the time allowed, because remember they pick up 1 time penalty for every second started over the time allowed. So it's a total of 5 for Layla Kurbanov and Ronya. Still 1 clear. That first clear going to Karima Perez Nunez. Be interesting to see how many of this field of 49 we see going forward into the jump off, because we have quite a way to go. Sun shining. It's a really, really beautiful day in Traverse City today.
It is beautiful. It's a little warm. I think some of the horses may have been used to a bit more of a cool breeze coming through, and while it's breezy, it's a bit of a warm breeze. So we'll see how that affects their energy level and ability to keep these rails up.
Again, having those questions later down the course, that's another consideration, I'm sure. But we turn now to Colombia. This is Nicolas Gamboa with Champions League, a horse who is a 10-year-old, coming up 10-year-old, by Com Ilfo. Previously ridden by Daniel Michan Halvinger of Mexico. But another combination really going from strength to strength.
They really are. They're coming off a 3rd place finish in the Pinot Grand Prix national competition that was back in the spring. He actually won that Grand Prix on a different horse and then returned later in the season and won again on the same horse, but this horse came closely behind in third. So lots of top results nationally for this pair and just moving into the FEI divisions together. Currently working for Christian Heineking and Aaron Davis Heineking of October Hill Sales, Texas-based operation there. I think that's one of the coolest things about Traverse City. Looks like we're gonna have our next clear round. We hear some whoops from the audience. Very excited to see that.
Yeah, really great to have that support from the audience. We've got a good number of riders watching from the riders' tent up at the top of the hill, but really, really fantastic to see. Another clear, and as you say, it just really puts the icing on the cake of their continued rise as a pair. So 2 clears, Nicolas Gamboa and Karimo Perez Nunez both through into the jump off. Kerry McCahill, of course, absolutely no stranger to really top level competitions, brings forward Charlie Chaplin S here this afternoon. This pair were jumping in Europe quite a lot last year, but now back to their best in the USA, jumping in Tryon and Ocala recently.
They rode to, I believe, a 2nd place finish in 3-star action in Tryon, so off to a great start back here in the States. Bit of a longer partnership, former ride of Derek Henney up to the 5-star level. It's a really impressive horse, has jumped all over the world, probably more well-traveled than most humans at this horse show are.
Yeah, some of these horses really do get the miles in, don't they? It's great to see them competing in a range of different locations, and of course really fantastic for their development to be able to compete in a range of different environments as well, on the grass, on the sand. Just has 5A, takes the front rail out there. Just got a little bit deep potentially.
I think it's great too to see, you know, horses like this who have jumped up to the 5-star level, clearly very experienced, but teaching a rider that may not have jumped quite to that level how to kind of navigate a big class like this, deal with the pressure. I think the horse, you can learn a lot from a horse that has jumped up to that level, and I think we see a good mix in these 2-star classes of the younger horses with the really seasoned riders and the more seasoned horses that are helping up-and-coming riders to reach their goals and really grow in the sport.
Yeah. 2 down, it's 8. 76.94 was the time, so she is within the time allowed. The time allowed being 78 seconds in this first round. So they've got a little bit of time to get round here, but they can't really waste too much time. And as we were saying earlier, they've got to take some of those inside lines, otherwise they will pick up time penalties, as we saw with Leila Kurbanov. On now to a rider from Bolivia. This is Diego Alejandro Bedoya Yanez with Thriller P. This is an 18-year-old horse, and probably one that's really just taps into what you were saying earlier, Tori, about, you know, having a more experienced horse taking a rider who perhaps hasn't competed quite so extensively to the high level. This is one that's had a good few interesting riders on the horse's CV so far. Now Diego really taking the reins and making the most of that horse's experience.
Definitely. I mean, talk about a seasoned horse, 18. You don't get much more seasoned than that, and to still be jumping in such great form. Unfortunately, as I say that, bringing down that Captive One Advisor's vertical, but just, I mean, it doesn't look a day over 8, and really a testament to, you know, there's a long list of riders, including Peter Clemens, Samuel Perot, and winner last night, Mark Blumen, who've had the ride on this horse. So testament to the way that they've been able to take care of this horse and keep him jumping for this long. You don't see many 18-year-old horses still performing at this high of a level. So clearly a lot of riders did right by this horse.
Yeah, and there's just a couple of moments where they're perhaps getting a little bit flat over some of these uprights, but there's certainly a lot to like about the partnership, and you can really see that there's a lot to like around this course, isn't there?
There really is, and I think, you know, so far we haven't seen any terrible mistakes happen. It's a fairly inviting course while also challenging these riders a bit more. You know, the precision really has to come into play today, and I think that's a little bit of what we've seen so far, is just, you know, the fine-tuning that some of these riders have yet to kind of reach. So we've seen a couple of those rails fall, but we haven't seen anything catastrophic happen, and I think, you know, we're gonna continue to see those clear rounds pour in.
No clear round though for Diego Alejandro Bedoya Yanez. 2 fences there, but in the end has the time faults as well, so it's a total of 12 for them with Thriller P. Going on from an 18-year-old horse, we have a couple of younger horses, a few younger horses on our lists now. We actually have 3 9-year-olds in a row. And a little bit of a different proposition, these riders perhaps bringing forward some slightly less experienced horses that we may see going up the levels in the future.
We do have quite a few 9-year-olds coming forward in this class, looking down the order. A 9 is kind of a good age to begin showing them this level, especially the ones that start to develop with a bit of a more confident mind.
Yeah.
Definitely nothing in this class that a 9-year-old can't tackle. We saw just yesterday an 8-year-old win the National Grand Prix. That was, of course, with Kent Barrington. So it's definitely not unheard of for a young horse to really shine at this level. But these really experienced professionals just giving them the experience that they need at the highest levels.
Great step on their journey to the very top level, I'm sure. Next in, again, for the USA, is we now have Nicolette Hurt. She rides this grey gelding Manolo Z, who is by My Lord Carthago, owned by Ballywater Stables. This is their 3rd start internationally together, but again, you know, they've been going from strength to strength. Another horse who has quite a few interesting riders on its CV already.
Yeah, quite a few. Nicolette has built up a very strong string of horses. We saw her jump clear in that 5-star welcome just a few days ago. I believe that was Thursday evening. She and her horse Chateau were double clear. Also bringing up some younger mounts. This one already ridden to some great success. 2nd in 3-star action in Tryon. Also winner of a 3-star 2-phase in Tryon. So just starting to add those results to this horse's resume. I think, you know, in no time we'll be seeing them jumping more and more clear rounds and into the higher levels. Really rides forward nicely up to that double combination. I think we've seen a few not quite get there in the 7 strides.
Yeah, they made that look pretty easy actually as a distance.
Rides up nicely to the skinny in 6. I think that's the way the course designer has intended for it to go. I think we'll see it in 7 as well. Unfortunately, just bringing the first rail of that Eagle Oxer down.
Yeah, just finding that a little bit tricky. It'll be interesting to see how they find the triple combination looking pretty good through there as well. Shame to just have that one fence down because she's, you know, we talked a little bit about precision and Nicolette's certainly ridden this round very carefully. A bit of a rattle at the last, but still just the one fence down. Picks up 1 for time as well, 78.8, so that's over that time allowed. Gives them a total of 5. Our 2nd combination to finish on 5. Nicolette Hurt just slots into 5th place there. But this is quite an early stage in the competition. So we still just have the 2 clears.
Yeah, the time allowed looking like it will play a bit of a factor. I think first one out of the gate, Kareem Perez Nunez was the fastest we've seen in 73.33 seconds. So based off of her round, it would have looked like it was more than enough time allowed, but now we've seen nearly half of our competitors complete with a time fault. So we'll see how that continues to play a role, if we'll get any clear rounds that just tick over into time.
Yeah, for sure, when they maybe taking a little bit of a more careful approach. Olivia Cleaver is the next in, again with another 9-year-old. This horse is Connor 69. By Connor, out of a Brandy mare. Olivia's had a little bit of a break in international competition, but comes back strongly here. This is a previous ride of Tanner Korotkin, who of course we see on the Major League Show Jumping 5-star competitions.
And we saw Tanner score himself a win earlier this week in 5-star speed action. Board a new mount for him. I think he's got some really exciting horses coming up, and we'll continue to see him on the podium for Major League Show Jumping. But passed along the ride of this horse to Olivia. They've been taking some top results nationally. They've actually taken top 12 results in the last 4 National Grand Prix that they've showed in together, including 2 third places at Lamplight. So been showing relatively locally. but now getting back up to those international ranks, and hopefully in a confident manner, already still on the clear coming into the last 2 lines of this course.
She did well there. I almost thought she was going to find the B to C element a little bit short, but really did well to get the horse still picking up there.
She's really riding this quite well. Moves forward in the 6. She's going to be close on time.
Ooh. Oh, that is quite agonizing, because that was a really brilliantly ridden round, as you say, and I really didn't think she was wasting too much time either, but just a fraction over that time allowed. 78.1, just that 1/10 of a second, giving her the 1 penalty, so sadly keeps her out of the jump off, but there is so much to like about that performance. I'm sure we're going to see them in the jump off in many competitions to come.
Really incredible performance. You can tell that partnership is just one that's meant for one another, and you know, there's not one particular spot that I think they spent a little too much time in, but just working on finessing the entire round, and they'll be clear next time, I'm sure.
Charlize Casas up next with Stenna. This is another really well-bred horse. We have a lot of really well-bred horses in the field here today. This one is by Staccato. Again, she rides for the USA. She's ridden this horse already this year in Miami and in Calgary. But again, a relatively new partnership in terms of international competitions, but again, going really well.
Going very well. They picked up a win at Spruce Meadows before coming here. That was at the 2-star level, so definitely comfortable already at this level, even though it's still fairly new to them. I think we've seen a lot of competitors here for this week that came directly back to Michigan from Spruce Meadows, and I think it's a testament to the quality of competition here. You know, you attract such great riders that go up to Spruce, and then so many of them continue some of their winning streaks by coming here.
Good few weeks of top-level competition in Traverse City, and it's quite a rider favourite, this venue, isn't it? They all comment on, you know, the quality of the arena, this Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring. Footing's really exceptional, and it's such a beautiful setting.
It's so beautiful, and there's so much to do outside of the horse show. You can't say that about many United States horse shows, as well as the weather. It's just a bit unbeatable. You know, everywhere else in the country you're sweltering hot, and here it's around the 75-80 degree mark most days. A little bit warmer today, but not much to complain about because it's been so nice.
Absolutely. 1 fence down though for Charlize, gives them 4 penalties. Again, keeps them out of the jump off, and we still have 2 riders jumping clear, 2 now out of our 9 starters. So we are a little over 20% in terms of the rate of clear rounds so far. Be interesting to see if we keep that ratio up. Savannah Hemby is our next rider in. Again, a slightly older horse, this one, and this is by Toulon, a mare that Savannah's been riding in Lexington and here in Traverse City this year.
Yeah, off to a great start with international competition, and in national competition they've done quite well. They secured a win in a Grand Prix at Pin Oak. They actually topped an 18-horse jump off on that occasion, so very quick horse. Unfortunately not going to get to show off the speed today, bringing down the first rail of 5AB, but still a lot to look forward to. I think, you know, it's a new partnership. They have probably years of experience to come.
I was just going to say a horse that was previously with Vilm Vermeer earlier in its career, but as you say, just a shame to have a couple of poles there, but just stepping up more to the international level.
I think that 5-stride line by the in-gate has gotten quite short for some. It's a bit of there's a bend there, and I think a lot of these riders might be over-anticipating that bend and riding a little bit too directly.
Well, the penultimate fence down as well for Savannah Hemby, and it gives her a total of 12. Slots into 9th place at the moment. She'll be outside the jump off, and as you say, Tori, a bit of a shame that they won't be showing off that speed, but still, you know, there's a lot for them to learn from that round.
Definitely, there's valuable lessons you can learn every time you set foot in the ring, and especially at the 2-star level. Someone in the partnership is usually newer to those levels, even sometimes it's both, and in that case I'm sure the rider is going to learn a lot. They're going to come back stronger next time as a result of it.
Well, of course, we have another rider now in the ring. We have another rider for the USA. This is Michael Murphy. He is the next rider on our list. Michael rides Cerolino. This is a 10-year-old gelding owned by Esperanza Imports. 15th in the 2-star Grand Prix here last month.
Yeah, he is off to a great start in 2-star competition here, part of the team that Elon Furter has built several very, very top riders riding up-and-coming horses. We've seen some really impressive results from his team this week and this whole season, really. And Michael coming off a 3rd-place finish in that 2-star 2 phase just a few days ago. Very competitive with this horse. We've also seen him take some top results in National Grand Prix action here. It's really been a strong season for him.
Front rail falling there. Not seen that the NetJets fence fall too many times so far, but as you say, there are a few distances that a couple of these horses are finding a little bit tricky around this course. It's been quite cleverly designed, especially in terms of where the questions are being asked around the course.
Yeah, the course design all week has been so strong. Francis Cedric Longy has come in to design for this FEI action here, and we've really seen a mix. It's interesting to see how creative these course designers can be with this arena. His design has really provided some great tracks for competition here.
Goes inside the time allowed, but 2 fences down then for Michael Murphy, gives them a total of 8. At this stage, they slot into 9th place. And we still wait for our 3rd clear. At the moment we have a jump off with 2 riders, but I'm sure we'll see more to come. Our next rider is certainly one that you would perhaps bet on if you were looking for a rider that has certainly got the talent and more than the capability to get into the jump off. This is Sean Joban of Canada, and he rides Foxridge Farm Stables Cuba Libre 5. Rode on the Show Plus Northern Lights team yesterday. Just had 1 fence down in the 1st round and then a clear in the 2nd round. Really great performance there. Really good to see the Northern Lights team coming up and doing really well for a 3rd place yesterday.
Yeah, podium finish for Sean yesterday. This Major League Show Jumping Tour this year started out in his home nation of Canada. That was at Thunderbird Show Park, this being the 2nd leg of that tour. So off to a great start for the Show Plus Northern Lights. And Sean and this horse are also off to a great start. They just this past year took a 4-star win at Live Oak in Ocala. They also topped a 3-star class in Tryon. So just rising up through the ranks all the way up to the 4-star level, taking top results. Sean, just a top Canadian rider. Also himself very interested in data. He studies not necessarily the clear round percentages that we talk about so often, but more so the data of his horse's health, similar to, biometrics and heart rate and how they can possibly affect the way that they jump and convert to having rails down, basically. It looks like his efforts are paying off. He secured himself a clear round.
Absolutely. Perhaps he might be putting that down to his fan of statistics. Gives us our 3rd clear round. Sean Joban goes into the jump off with Cuba Libre. It's our, we still have, as I say, we've got the 3 clears. Our fastest so far was our 1st rider, Karima Perez Nunez. And it'll be interesting to see if they keep up that speed into the jump off. I'm sure they will. It'll be a very competitive running already of this jump off. Jordan Coyle comes next. He's had a little bit of a difficult week so far, but of course he was the winner of the 5-star Grand Prix back in Vancouver with that fantastic horse, Ariso. Rode Picador in the team competition yesterday, just to have that great clear in the 1st round, but it just didn't quite go to plan in the gold medal jump off, but of course helping Spyco Spies to that silver medal place in the team competition. He rides here Centrico Volo, a 10-year-old gelding owned by Celtic Park, and of course he rides for Ireland.
Jordan, a very strong rider, I'm sure has already put that behind him and focused on today's task. Actually, the winner of the past 2 Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix, the last one taking place last December at Desert Horse Park. That was the season finale, very exciting week of competition there, and his first 5-star Grand Prix win. It was a very emotional evening for him, and then he duplicated that in Thunderbird just a few months ago. So just a great season start so far. Hoping to continue upon that success both today in this 2-star Grand Prix, maybe even later on in tonight's 5-star Grand Prix.
Yeah, I'm sure he will have his eye on one of the top spots both in this afternoon's competition and in this evening's 5-star Grand Prix. He is such a fast rider, always one that's quite a crowd favourite to watch.
Centrico Volo, also a very careful horse, 55% clear round rate, a meter 55 according to the Jumper app, averages below 4 faults per round. Winner in Monterey last season at the 5-star level, also winner of the Old Salem Grand Prix just this past spring. Just one fence away from our 4th clear round.
Oh, what a shame. That is such a shame. What a beautiful round, but sadly the final fence falls. 76.94 was the time, but Jordan Coyle and Centrico Volo very sadly just dropped that final pole from jumping so carefully all the way around this course, but unfortunately not going to make it into our jump off. We won't be seeing that famous Jordan Coyle speed in action this afternoon, but perhaps later this evening. That 5-star Grand Prix kicking off at 6 p.m. local time, so do tune in to watch that. We'll be bringing you all of the action live, of course, on the Major League Show Jumping website. Carly Fairty comes forward next for Canada with Elite Chin de Solier. This is a 12-year-old mare, and one that Carly's been riding since earlier this year, riding in some really good competitions all around the USA and Canada, previously ridden by Erin Ballard briefly and Christophe van der Hasselt of Belgium earlier, previous to that.
Already some great Canadian riders aboard this horse. Erin Ballard, of course, representing Canada at the World Championships in Herning next week. Those underway officially now, the dressage competitions taking place today. Carly off to a really great round so far. This horse tremendously careful, averages 2.4 faults per round. And just giving it a really confident ride. I think, you know, some of these riders who maybe are newer to the international level might come in a bit bashful and sometimes not be able to stick to the plan the way that they anticipated, but definitely not a problem here for Carly. She's just giving it a spectacular ride.
Well, a super careful round. She's inside the time allowed as well, not causing a problem for her at all in this competition. It's a clear. Carly Fairty gives us our 4th clear round with Elite Chin de Solier. 4 riders and horses through to the jump off out of our 14 starters so far, so we're keeping at around about the same rate of clear rounds in this competition, but we've certainly got a really star-studded lineup yet to come. Callie Schott comes up next with Charlie. This is a horse by Chaco Blue, and Callie herself, of course, rode on the Crusaders team in the Major League Show Jumping team competition last night. There she rode Teddy Z, but Charlie's been a really successful horse for her already as well.
Together they rode to a 3rd place finish in a 2-star class at WEF this past season, already earning some top ribbons. Callie really rising through the ranks, competing at the 5-star level now, getting expert advice from Beezy and John Madden, also taking over the ride of Beezy's horse Garant. Jumped double clear in that welcome stake just this past Thursday night. Really incredible performance by them. But also great to see that she has some up-and-coming horses like this that she can kind of shine on the 2-star and 5-star levels along this Major League Show Jumping tour.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Garant is the horse that she rides in the 5-star Grand Prix this afternoon, and they will be last to go in that 5-star Grand Prix. So she goes fairly early in this competition and then has a little bit of a wait to her performance in the 5-star Grand Prix, but just then I think finding that distance, the B to C elements in the triple combination a little short at this sort of later stage of the course. A couple of fences down for an 8 faulting round.
Yeah, unfortunate. Those were some late rails and just light taps. That fence 12 sitting on flat cups makes it extremely delicate. It's a tiny plank. It's both narrow and not very tall, the plank itself. The fence, of course, is tall, but that just makes it so careful.
Yeah, it's a fairly lightweight plank on top there as well, so it doesn't really take much at all for that fence to drop. And especially at this late stage when perhaps the riders have also got a bit of an eye on fence 13, which is quite an imposing oxer to finish the course. They perhaps come around this corner following the triple combination in quite a forward manner, especially with an eye on the final fence, and it just makes fence 12 that little bit more difficult. Hudson Warren is up next with Pembury Condor's Diamond, a horse that Hudson also owns and has been jumping this horse pretty extensively this year. Jumped in the two-star competitions in Vancouver the week after the Major League Show Jumping show. Just had a few fences down in the two-star Grand Prix there, but has also been jumping quite a lot at Calgary.
They have, including a top 10 finish there in two-star action. Very small build on this horse. Actually, this rider trains with the winner of that welcome stake on Thursday night, Rowan Willis, and Rowan was saying that he was actually injured recently, hurt his shoulder, and so he passed on the ride of Blue Movie to prep to Hudson. And Blue Movie, we know from all of the winning interviews that he has had that she is not an easy mare to ride. So you can tell that this rider really takes the time to get to know his horses. This horse looking to be no exception. I mean, they've had a couple unlucky rails so far, but seems to mesh really well. But sure to be a pair to look out for in the future, especially under the expert guidance of Rowan Willis.
Yeah, for sure. Just having that the two fences down and then the 3 to add for time as well gives them a total of 11. Drops into 14th place as it stands. Still the 4 clears. And the next person who will be trying to join those 4 clear rounds will be Ellie Jaeger. Again, a horse owned by the rider. This horse is Illusion CL, won by Arezzo VDL. Plenty of very exciting breeding in the competitors here this afternoon. This is a horse previously ridden by Megan Moisanier of France, who of course jumps really successfully right the way up to 5-star level. And Ellie's been jumping this horse here in Traverse City for a good few weeks now.
She's had a great summer so far with this horse. She finished top 12 in a 2-star 2-phase earlier this season with this horse. Really moving up through the ranks, an incredible equitation career for Ellie. So many top wins to her name, and all the while through her whole equitation career with the same equitation horse that she brought up herself, owned it for, I believe, about 8 years. They were competing together, and so one that really gets to know her horses on a deep level and connect with them, ends up being able to produce great results that way. Of course, not to say you can't produce great results with a short-term partnership, but just something a little special about getting to know your horses over a long period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a couple in the competitions yesterday who brought their horses up from, from young rider classes, from young horse classes, then right the way up to 5-star level. Such a rewarding thing to see. Ellie going for a bit of a forward shot to the final fence. Illusion CL clears that really, really well. But sadly, an earlier fence down and a little bit over the time allowed as well. 78.61 seconds gives them a total of 5. We go on now to a really top international rider, Georgina Bloomberg, who again has been competing here for a couple of weeks, but competing all around the United States across the summer. Rides Semper Fidelis here this afternoon. 14-year-old mare by Staccato Gold. And Georgina is, she's such a stylish rider, isn't she? And she's been jumping at the 5-star level for quite some time. Of course, also heads up the New York Empire team on the GCL team circuit as well.
Yeah, such a stylish rider, so poised and kind of makes the job look easy. She's just been a staple for U.S. show jumping for so long. Rode this horse to a double clear finish in 3-star Welcome Stake action recently. One of the horses that's relatively newer to her string, but she's another that, you know, really emphasizes those partnerships. She has a couple of homebreds that she's been really successful with, including her 5-star mount Manhattan. She's also got an up-and-coming youngster that's been winning in some of the young horse classes here this week. But Georgina just really dedicated to the sport. Her son Jasper is also taking home wins here in Traverse City.
Yeah, so nice to see her son Jasper following in her footsteps. And also, as you say, been great to see Manhattan in action here because, of course, Spencer Smith's been riding that horse quite recently as well, but certainly one that Georgina's really brought up through the ranks so successfully.
Yeah, she's really built a great team around her, passing on some of her rides to Spencer Smith. Of course, part of that team for New York Empire, competing on the Global Champions League Tour. She's also got Matthew Boddy riding some of her horses, ridden to top results here in Traverse City, and just won a fence home from a clear round. Sits within that time allowed. So we have our 5th clear round, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. 5th clear round going to Georgina Bloomberg with Semper Fidelis. Really lovely round there.
Looking to make a repeat of that double clear that we saw in 3-star action earlier this Great Lakes Equestrian Festival.
She's been a great representative on the US teams as well, hasn't she? And just as you were saying, I'm sure she'll be keeping a close eye on how the American team do at those World Equestrian Games this week and next week. Andrew Wells comes forward next with Idol H&H. This is one owned by Evergreen Stables, and he rides again for the USA.
This is a horse we saw jump clear in Grand Prix action back in the spring series. Andrew brought home some top results during that series. Really strong team over there at Team Wells. But took a little break, went up to Spruce Meadows, and now is back here ready for action in Traverse City again.
Horse that, of course, he's been riding quite a bit as well is Katoki's Son. That one was ridden also by Michael Murphy recently and by Erin Ballard, so it's great to see him have a good few top horses in his string.
It's a great producer of horses. I think we can see that not only in the horses that he's bringing up to this level, but also horses that then, you know, go on to have success with other riders, as you just said. It's not his first stop along the Major League Show Jumping Tour. He actually took a silver medal finish for Team AIM United last year. That was in Ontario. It's great to see so many different riders being a part of that team environment. I think we got some great feedback last night from that winning team about how it really makes, you know, when it boils down to it, that Major League Show Jumping Tour, the team competition is just a normal class. It's all about jumping clear and quick, but when you add in that team element, it just provides an entirely new experience.
Totally new experience for them to jump with riders from other nations as well, of course. Andrew Wells then, 79.54 is the time that he stops the clock in. So picks up 2 for time. We were saying earlier, actually, I think that, you know, we may see some riders jump clear but pick up a couple for time. Andrew Wells just getting the 2 there, so keeps him out of the jump off. Slots into 7th place. We still have Olivia Cleaver, who's in 6th, just with the 1 penalty. Well, from one American rider to the next. Here's our next rider into the ring. Great to see so many riders coming forward in this competition. This is Zaina Rizvi with Equis du Pachis. Just jumping a little bit out of order in our list here, not on our initial list, but interesting combination to see here.
Zaina actually kind of last minute decided to swap her other mount Excellent for this one, taking a 2-star win in Welcome Stake competition. That was, I believe, during Gluff 3 she claimed that Welcome Stake win. Not her first FEI win, but still a big one nonetheless. Took her first National Grand Prix win recently at Tryon, and that, I believe, was aboard this horse. Also top placings up to second place in 4-star action at the Devon Horse Show for this young rider. Just really incredible career already. It's kind of amazing to see. She's only 17 years old and she's already, you know, fighting with the big guys. She's one to beat in these international classes all the way up to the 4-star level. That's just quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it's probably, you know, as you say, being such a young rider and riding against some riders that I'm sure she's been looking up to for quite some time. It's a little bit daunting, but just like you say, with the team competition, they have to treat each round in the same way. Fraction over that time allowed as well, but just picks up 1 for time. So it's a total of 5 for Zeina Rizvi.
Really well ridden there. Her equitation years serving her well. But certainly will be a pair to look out for in the future.
Darren Dillon is a home competitor in Vancouver leg, but he is also on the Show Plus Northern Lights team. Rides for Canada, and here he brings forward Odile VDM. Darren, former World Cup final winner. That was back in 2008 with the horse Catwalk. That was a great ride of his. This, though, Odile VDM, is one that he's been competing in 2-star competitions in Tryon. To a couple of fences down there, but certainly improving over a period of time. Won previously with Sergio Alvarez Moya back in 2020.
Darren himself a winner of National Grand Prix action at Thermal this season. He was aboard Buddy Bounce. It's really a staple for Canada all over both his home nation and the United States, traveling quite a bit. Just already a pair of rails down on course for Darren. But Odile just an 8-year-old, so still definitely newer to these levels. Just doing his best to kind of teach this horse how to stay focused and continue to jump.
Getting some pretty deep shots in there. It didn't quite work out for them at the plank, but you could, as I say, see what Darren was trying to do to just encourage the horse to keep jumping up rather than getting flat. Gives them a total score of 23, so he is really rather down the rankings, but crucially not in the jump-off. We still have 5 going forward to that jump-off competition. Of course, that will be run over a shorter course.
Nearing that halfway point in the order. Already some really impressive names coming back for that jump off. Some newer names as well. Going to be a good mix of, it could be a veteran taking this win. It could be a first Grand Prix win for someone. So we'll wait and see how that unfolds later on in this class.
For sure. The lineup in the jump off, just in case you're just joining us, is Nicolas Gambard, Carly Verti, Georgina Bloomberg, Karima Perez Nunez, and Sean Joban. So a bit of a mix of newer riders and those more established names, as Tori says. Caroline Mohini is next in for the USA, riding her own Stella La Vista. This 14-year-old mare is by Satisfaction, and is one that Caroline's been riding all around America again. She's been jumping in some under 25 competitions as well in Wellington earlier this year, but jumping in Miami in a 2-star Grand Prix for a really good result. Also, I noticed this horse was ridden at one time by Jessica Mendoza of Great Britain and by Marie Demont in the past as well.
This partnership is so much fun to watch. They know each other very well, and this little mare can be so fast when it comes to speed rounds and jump offs. She's very small, very compact, and just moves her legs so quickly. She's won National Grand Prix, she's won U25 Grand Prix, They're just a really strong partnership, one to look out for when it comes to jump off time. I think if they're in the jump off and they can pull off a double clear, they're going to be really hard to beat.
Yeah, you can see that this horse could really turn on a sixpence. Absolutely be invaluable in a jump off, but got fantastic scope for such a small horse as well.
Yeah, we see her do the 7 to the Platinum Performance vertical. Smaller step on this horse, but no lack of scope whatsoever. Extremely careful, but unfortunately that Liverpool vertical, the Just World International fence, going to come down. Now looking to hopefully be a fast 4, and as I say that, the first of the triple combination falling as well. Caroline just working to get that rideability back. The mare gets more excited as the round goes on. She just really thinks the task is always to go quickly, jump off mode. But Caroline does an excellent job with her. Not going to be there day to day.
No, 2 fences down, but it's one of our faster times, 74.91. I believe that might be our fastest round so far. I think only beaten by Karima Perez Nunez, who of course is through into the jump off. So our second fastest round so far, but 2 fences down for Caroline. Back to Canada now and to Wesley Newlands. Wesley from Toronto rides Maestro van Het Binnenveld, a 10-year-old stallion. And again, Wesley's been jumping in several competitions here in Traverse City in recent weeks. They were 5th in the 2-star Grand Prix. Good clear, and then just the 1 fence down in the jump off there. Also been jumping in for a 9th place in another 2-star competition here a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, Wesley really holding her own against the very best of them. She has been to some of the nation's biggest horse shows this year, including WEF here in Traverse City, also Devon, and taking home top results. She was top 10 in Miami 2-star action just this past winter, top 5 in 2-star action at the Winter Equestrian Festival. And trains under the guidance of Eric Lamaze, expert Canadian as well as chef de keep for Canada. I'm sure eager to cheer on her Canadian teammates at the World Championships coming up just next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to see so many top riders here in Traverse City looking to cheer on their teammates and compatriots in those World Championships. They, of course, are quite a highlight of the international sporting action next week. Has fence 12 down, just clips it so lightly with the back feet to have that plank down. Gives Wesley Newlands just the 1 down for 4 penalties. Chandler Meadows is up next with Zamia 3. This is a horse that Chandler owns, and a slightly older horse, this mare. Now a 15-year-old.
Chandler, one of several West Coast riders that has joined us here in Traverse City. We've seen some really top results, including a Grand Prix just recently, or welcome stake rather, that saw the entire podium West Coast-based riders. It's nice that Michigan is somewhat centrally located, that some top West Coast competitors can make it here and really stand on their own.
Chandler, of course, also in the lineup for the Trailblazers Major League show jumping team, and she rode this horse on the Blazing Sevens last year to 6 appearances, in fact. Transfers alongside Cara Rather Carey from Blazing Sevens to the Trailblazers. Didn't ride on the team yesterday, but I'm sure we will see Chandler riding for the Trailblazers at a future leg this year.
I'm sure she will be. She's a staple for that team. She's ridden to several top placings in 5-star action recently, including just last year here in Traverse City with this horse, 2nd in a 5-star class. She came 2nd to Margie Engel, which I think in most people's book you could consider a win.
Absolutely, coming 2nd to somebody like that is surely considered a win, and something that I'm sure a rider like Chandler Meadows would really, really value. It's great to even see those sorts of riders in action. Of course, Margie Goldstein-Engel competing here in Traverse City as well this week. Chandler Meadows then just a fraction over the time allowed, so just keeps them a little bit outside the jump off. Slots into 7th place with just a fraction slower than Olivia Cleaver, so sadly not into the jump off. 1 penalty to add for them.
What a great ride for her. I think she's had some solid finishes this week, but also some not quite ideal finishes, so to just really end on that note, I'm sure she's beyond thrilled. So with that, I believe we are going to take our midway drag break, give this excellent ring crew a chance to spruce up this footing for the second half of our order. So tune in roughly 10 minutes. We will be back with the second half of this True Star Grand Prix.
Shop Meyer, you don't just feed yourself or your family. You help support programs like Simply Give that feed our neighbors in need.
Thank you.
There's something about when you get up early, crop the plane, and you take off, and you get that first light of day, and the air is crystal smooth. You can see forever. You have to have the right aircraft, the right flight, the right crew. Only NetJets can do this. The flight dissolves into the background. It should just be here.
Perfect Products is proud to sponsor Traverse City Horse Shows. In addition to the well-known Perfect Prep calming line, Perfect Products offers a spectrum of show-safe formulas to help support your horse's mental focus and athletic potential when it counts. You've done the work, now enter the ring with confidence with Perfect Products.
Sarah Subaru is proud to sponsor the Traverse City Horse Shows and salutes all the riders competing, plus those who support them. Sarah is your source for great prices on new Subarus and certified pre-owned, like the 8-passenger Ascent, which tows up to 5,000 pounds. And when it comes to service, trust Sarah's certified techs for major repairs and simple maintenance. We'll even pick it up with our exclusive concierge service with rental cars available. Only at Sarah Subaru on South Garfield, Traverse City. Sarah Traverse City makes car shopping one great experience with 7 top auto brands including Subaru, Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan, Audi, Cadillac, and Volvo. Short-term leases and rental cars are available. Sarah's service also shines with work on most makes and models including trucks. With our exclusive concierge program, we'll even pick up, service, and return your vehicle when completed. See why so many choose Sarah on South Garfield, Traverse City or sarah@tc.com.
Taylor Harris Insurance Services, your equine insurance specialists offering products developed from both the London and US markets. This is knowledgeable equestrians serving equestrians. This is a tradition of excellence. Enjoy the peace of mind that comes from working with our reputable agents and experienced staff. Taylor Harris Insurance Services, trusted providers across all disciplines, raising the bar and setting the standards to meet all of your equine insurance needs.
Normal. Nice. You can roll with that. Or you can roll the dice. Be the brave and boldly go a different way. A different wave. It's the risk taken by the gamers, chasing the glimmers. We're the risk takers, the loud laughers, the grand Traverse Bay late night swimmers. It's about the destination. It's about the way. And at Turtle Creek Casino in Traverse City, life is a game, and this is how we play.
In the land of the brave, in our fearless state, there's a wild heart running away. I let my ship drift, I can navigate within. There's a place where dreamers collide. Guide me home. Dawn is breaking. The night is taking me home. Can you guide me home?
Our horses are so much more than athletes. They can deliver our dreams with every ride. So we give them the best nutrition, the best health care, and the best equipment. Be sure to give the best transportation too. For 60 years, Brookledge has led the way in on-time delivery, customer focus, state-of-the-art equipment, and the best drivers in the industry. Brookledge, delivering your dreams since 1955.
Welcome back, everybody. We, of course, have had our short break in the middle of this class. We've had a good number of riders coming forward, and we've got 5 going forward into our jump-off already. They are Nicolas Gamboa, Carly Ferti, Georgina Bloomberg, Carile Perez-Nunez, and Sean Joban, but 5 clears out of 24 riders so far. So that is around about the ratio that we're looking at for this competition. There's plenty of places where the course designer Cedric Longis has caught out these riders a good few tricky lines and some tricky distances in there. Our next rider in is Nico Ritter, who rides Aquiles del Caribe Z. This again is a horse that Nico owns. We've got a few owner-rider combinations forward in this competition. And is one that Nico's just developing at the international level. I'm joined by Tori Bilas, and we're just taking you through all of this competition. But Tori, one that's not too familiar with the international competitions yet.
Yeah, making their way into these 2-star competitions, coming off some top finishes in meter 40 action together. They've been here in Traverse City for a little bit so far in this Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. Took clear round in 3rd place in the meter 40 rather during Gluff 1, also a 2nd place in the meter 40 back in the spring series. Just giving this horse a little bit of time to develop in some of those national classes. A little bit less pressure on those classes as well, gives them the experience in this Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International ring without the pressure of international competition. So definitely familiar with this ring, but really rising quite well to the challenge of some of this course's obstacles.
Yeah, and we've seen the fences fall pretty much all the way around this course, haven't we? We've seen, just now has the Justwell fence with that water tray underneath down, but the triple combination coming quite late around this course. The B to C distance is quite short, and we're seeing that final element fall for a number of them. This fence, the plank at 12, also causing a few problems, not for Nico Ritter. Picks up 8 penalties, 2 fences down, and it's a pretty fast time actually, 75.1. Gives them 8 penalties though, sadly not going into the jump off.
Still just 8 years old, so a lot to come for that horse. Looked very confident jumping around. You know, a couple unfortunate rails there, but to pick up a time that quick, it's clearly a confident horse. Doesn't need to be quite as handheld around that course as some of these horses that might have time faults. So definitely one to watch for the future.
Absolutely. Our next rider is a talented young lady, Alexis Sokolov. She's on the lineup for the Roadrunners team in this 2022 season. Roadrunners not fielding Alexis in their lineup for this second leg of the Major League Show Jumping Series. And here she takes a little bit of a wider turn out to fence 2. The horse that she rides is Calciet EBZ.
If I remember correctly, I believe she had the first rail down in the speed class as well with this horse. And then managed to jump a very nice round. Alexis, a really strong rider, good speed rider. This is a newer ride for her. She trains with Connor Swale, and the horse was previously ridden by Connor to some top results, but I think any horse with Connor can get top results. Not to say that this isn't a spectacular horse, but I think Alexis and this horse still getting to know one another, testing the gears just a little bit. That's kind of part of the process for getting to know a new horse at this level, but already so much success for Alexis with some of the horses that she knows better, and surely more to come with this horse.
You can really see the scope over some of these fences, particularly over some of the bigger oxes. You can really see this horse's scope. Of course, as you say, just getting to know this one, but she's got some great horses in her string. Fasolo de Seigneur is one of the horses that she's ridden quite extensively recently. It's the horse that she rode in the 5-star competitions in Vancouver as well. Just takes the plank as well. Good to the last though. It's 4 down in total, or should I say 16 faults for Alexis, 3 down and 4 for time. Just took her time a little bit. She was really taking some of the more wider turns, I think, just taking a little bit more time to allow the horse to really understand the question being asked, but the pace was certainly there as well.
The pace is there, the scope is there, all of the parts of the equation I think are there. It's just a matter of fine-tuning, and that partnership just still needs a little bit more time to marinate, but definitely going to be one for the future, a horse that can definitely handle the upper levels of competition.
Well, a rider who was on the Roadrunners team yesterday is Kristen van der Veen. She had a fantastic round yesterday, getting a great clear for the Roadrunners. Sadly, they didn't make it through into the second round, but it was such a strong ride there. Yesterday she rode Bull Run's Prince of Peace. Here she rides Bull Run's Faustino di Tilly, who is a 17-year-old stallion by Berlin.
This is an incredible horse for Kristen. She's had this horse for a very long time, developed it up through the levels, and together they have secured 47 FEI wins together, which is just an unbelievable number. I don't know of many horses that have that many FEI wins to their name, and especially for them to be kind of along this journey together. I think she's the only rider that's competed this horse internationally. And nationwide, really, they've competed everywhere from Wellington to Thermal, even competed at World Cup finals together. That was when it was in Paris. They've won up to the 5-star level. I think they topped a 5-star Grand Prix in Tryon, which is not really her home, but she's kind of the queen of Tryon. She's done quite a bit of winning there. Looks like she's going to pull a late rail, unfortunately.
Just concludes things a fraction over the time allowed as well, 78.46. Kristen van der Veen picks up those 5 penalties. We've had a few riders picking up time penalties. We have a few having fences down with just 1 for time, but we also have a couple of riders on 1 time penalty and 1 on 2, just keeping them out of the jump off. Continuing with another American rider then, this is Molly Ashcorley. She rides the Louisburg Farms Conrad 119. This is a 13-year-old gelding by Comme Il Faut. She rode Cappuccino in the 3-star Grand Prix here very recently to a really good performance. With Conrad though, she's been jumping for a couple of good top 10 finishes in Tryon, a 6th place in the 2-star Grand Prix there. That was one of their most recent results. So pretty on form pairing.
Fairly long-term pairing as well. They've been taking top results since back in 2020. Molly herself actually just placed 7th in that 5-star winning round earlier today. That was Ward Berdian. She's also taken several top placings with that horse. It's a very successful rider. Also, her daughter is rising through the ranks in show jumping. Taylor Cawley, very successful pony rider, now taking the jumping world by storm. Another one of those very stylish riders, just keeps herself so poised. Really lets the horse do its job. Time is going to run a little close.
Yeah, a little bit over the time allowed. That time allowed is 78 seconds. Molly Ash-Corley stops the clock in 79.65, so our second rider to finish on 2 time penalties. A lot to like though, keeps all the fences up. One with a lot of potential for the future. The next horse into the ring is Onermi van Het Wezenhof, ridden by Giovanna Rinaldi. This is owned by Andrew Wells, and again is one that Giovanna's really been developing over the past year, jumping in Calgary very recently to some good results.
They have been taking some top results. Very comfortable here in Traverse City. Took a 3rd place in the meter 40 during Gleff 3. Like you said, top results at Spruce Meadows. Giovanna herself taking a 5-star win at Spruce Meadows. That aboard a different mount. But a very, not only competitive, but very busy rider. She had 4 mounts in yesterday's National Grand Prix. Managed to sneak into the top 10 with one of those. She also recently, in another National Grand Prix, brought forth 4 mounts and qualified 3 of them for the jump off, so definitely a very good versatile rider. She can ride pretty much anything passed along to her, now becoming a team member at Team Wells with Andrew Wells, just a staple in his operation there.
Just nice how she really kind of carefully went around that corner, just sort of studied and set the horse up for the triple combination. It really paid off.
It's really putting in some good riding here. She's definitely fighting for this clear round.
Really nicely to the last, 74.9. It's a fast time as well.
She was very efficient around that track. It didn't look like she was running anywhere, but just stayed true to her track. She clearly had that planned out ahead of time and managed to just not take too much time anywhere.
Kept up a really good regular rhythm with a decent pace all the way around. So Giovanna Rinaldi joins those riders into the jump off, 74.9 the time. She's our 2nd fastest qualifier for the jump off. Joins those other 5 riders. Now we go through with 6. Catherine Strauss comes forward next, another rider for the Crusaders team. Catherine rides Ballot HP here. This one is a fairly young stallion, a 9-year-old now, by Balou du Rouet.
Another young rider being trained by BZ Madden. Has taken over some of BZ's rides, including coach that she's competed up to the higher levels of international competition. Also starting to bring up some younger rides, this one being no exception at just 8 years old. Catherine, a very strong rider, very capable of putting in solid rounds.
She's really quite a consistent rider, isn't she? And as you say, with a number of her rides, she's really actually getting some very consistent results. There's no kind of standout disasters anywhere in her record.
She really has been quite consistent, I think, over the years as she especially gains more horses in her string. She kind of has that ability to tailor her riding to each one.
Real shame to just clip that back rail at the that wooden fence towards the in-gate. A lovely athletic horse, though, very nicely down that final line as well. Just the one fence down and 1 for time as well, 78.36. We're still seeing that time allowed causing a few problems. Good few riders picking up time penalties now. Plenty of those having 1 fence down and 1 for time, interestingly. So it's 5 in total for Catherine Strauss and Ballo HP. Natalie Dean coming forward now. Another rider on one of the Major League show jumping teams. Natalie rides .com d'Orthuit in this competition. This is won by Diamant de Semi, rising 10-year-old mare owned by Marigold Sport Horses. Natalie was on Team Lugano yesterday. Wasn't particularly the day for Team Lugano. They finished in 8th place. But Natalie's got some really exciting rides this year.
Natalie's string of horses is truly second to none. She has several horses at the top, one of which she won 3-star welcome stake with just last week. Topped, I believe it was 14 horses in that jump off. She was the first to go, and she held the lead through 13 more to come after her. And then just beneath that, she has several up and coming, 9 and 10-year-olds. She also has some top 7-year-olds winning in that division as well. So truly any jumper ring, Natalie Dean is one to watch out for. She's part of the team that Elon Furter has created, trains under him and riding several horses for him. But just really confident, strong young rider.
Some pretty impressive results, not only at young rider level, but also in the Pan American Games as well.
Yeah, she's really taken the international world by storm. I think all these riders, no matter the experience level, she's one to look out for. They're always a little nervous when she's in the jump off, which it looks like she's going to be. And 72.70, that is a very fast first round time. That might be the fastest we've seen. So if that's any indication for the jump off, she'll be one to watch, as she always is.
Absolutely, that is indeed our fastest round going forward into the jump off. Natalie Dean with .com d'Orthuit goes through in 72.7, and I'm pretty sure that that's our fastest round full stop so far. Not only out of the clears, it's like our fastest round out of the competition thus far. So fantastic round for her. Certainly ones to watch in the jump off. Natalie rides Chance Saint-Amel in tonight's 5-star Grand Prix as well. She'll be 6th to go there. So again, we were talking about her fantastic string of horses. She's sure to be one to watch in the 5-star Grand Prix as well.
Yeah, she really always is. No matter which horse she's on, she can always be a contender. She's taken some top placings just this year.
Well, this striking horse that's in the ring now is Celine L.S. Lassia. This one is ridden by Rachel Cornacchia of Canada. Celine L.S. Lassia, a 13-year-old horse. And Rachel rides for Canada.
This horse rode 2 FEI wins with Canada's Jim Ifko. We saw Jim ride to that jump off last night that secured the bronze medal for the Show Plus Northern Lights. Really quick horse that he's on. He also took, I believe it was 3rd place in the 3-star Grand Prix just last Sunday. So kind of on a roll for Jim Ifko, but passing the reins on this horse to fellow Canadian Rachel. This horse helping to teach her the ropes of the higher levels of the sport.
Great scope over the first part of the double combination. Fence 5 really is quite a sort of open looking fence, and it's really encouraging the horses to jump really pretty high, show us their scope there.
Both horse and rider are up and okay, walking out of the ring, but hate to see it go that way for Rachel.
Yeah, a real shame, but as you say, good to see them both safely up and on their feet. It was a round that was going so well, but unfortunately that will be elimination for Rachel Cornacchia and Celine L.S. Lassia. That experienced horse and a really good, exciting combination, sadly parting ways following the double combination. On to another of our Major League team riders now. This is Nikki Galligan with Hermione de Lehodes. Owned by Guardian Stables, Nikki is on the Trailblazers team, rode for the Trailblazers yesterday with Javas Miss Jordan. Had a few fences down there, but a really, really solid rider for the team, and again, somebody who's absolutely no stranger to the very top level of things, and another rider with some really exciting horses this year.
Definitely no shortage of horsepower in Nicky's string this year. Originally from Ireland, he's been stateside for about 7 years and just really making waves, especially with his top horse that we saw last night, Jarvis Miss Jordan, winner of several FEI classes with that horse, also topping National Grand Prix action out on the West Coast, all the way up to winning a 4-star Grand Prix at Thermal. So lots of experience for this rider. This pair in particular rode to second place rather, in a 5-star speed at Thunderbird. So off to a great partnership together. Still just a 9-year-old. But it's nice for some of these riders, especially on this Major League Show Jumping Tour, they can bring their top horses and then also have plenty of competition for their up-and-coming mounts, having both 2-star and 5-star competition.
Yeah, as you say, Nicky's got a few good horses at that top level. Jarvis Miss Jordan, perhaps the standout, but Hermione de la Hodes is certainly coming up there as well with those good results in Vancouver. Some good performances as well in New York at North Salem. The 20th place in a 3-star, but perhaps that placing doesn't quite reflect the fact that they just picked up 5 penalties in that competition, but a good few results under their belt already.
It should be a good confidence building round for this young horse. Just keeps it to the 4. Well, looks like she's going to take over slightly into time, so 5 for that pair. But just a overall really positive round. I think, you know, it's easy to get discouraged by a rail and a time fault, but looking at the round as a whole, there's a lot of good to take out of that, especially for just a 9-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 down and 1 for time. Nicky Galligan picks up those 5 penalties. Sophia Ahern comes up next for the USA, riding Langobardo BF. Langobardo is a horse that she's been riding in a few international competitions, not too many. Jumped at White Sulphur Springs at the back end of 2021, but previously ridden by Simon Morsinkoff of Belgium and Evie Morsinkoff as well. Morsinkoff family, so experienced at the top level, and the younger riders in that family really coming up through the ranks as well. Ooh, quite a clip there, but that fence stays in the cup. Sometimes it does take a little bit of luck to keep them in there. Oof.
Yeah, she saw that from quite far away, ended up doing the 6 there, and I thought she had covered the spread, but just came down a little hard on that back rail. The front rail of the following fence, so on the 8. And again, just things that you can learn from this level. Young rider moving up into FEI competition. There's always going to be those question marks on the course, and you might not get them right the first time, but the more you compete at this level, you begin to, you know, parse the courses as you walk them and fine-tune your riding to adjust accordingly and crank out those clear rounds.
Yeah, all about getting the miles on the clock, all about building the confidence in a range of different environments and really getting things going around a few different courses, and this is no exception. You know, they've had a little bit of opportunity to jump in here earlier in the week and to get used to this arena, but certainly with Cedric Longis building some pretty difficult tracks in this Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring, there's still plenty for them to consider. Sophia Ahern then finishes with 16 faults, 4 fences down for her. Samuel Parot comes next of Chile with Crystal Blue. Crystal Blue, 12-year-old gelding, and Samuel owns this horse. He was the previous rider of Diego Alejandro Bedoya Yanez's ride earlier, Thriller P. But now brings forward Crystal Blue in this competition. Not seeing the B element fall of that double too many times, but just clips with the back legs, just not quite getting the height there.
Samuel, another rider we saw jump clear in that 5-star welcome stake. Board Captain Zed, very experienced rider, twice Olympian. Most recently it represented his home nation of Chile in Tokyo in 2020. This a ride he got from Brazil's Cassio Rivetti. We saw Cassio jump to the win in that Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix at Thermal. That was the first of two. Of course, Jordan Coyle taking the win in the second. Cassio Rivetti winning that Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix.
He's over the time allowed, picks up 2 for time and 4 for jumping. Samuel Perot finishes here with 6 penalties with crystal blue. 6 penalties will have him sit in 23rd place. So he was 36th on our list. We still have 7 clears now. So you can see that there's a really stiff test that's been set here. Our next rider is from Mexico. This is Luciana Roberta Gonzalez Guerra from Guadalajara, who rides Erens. This is the horse that she rode to the North American Young Rider Championships at this very venue last year for a team 4th.
See those championships return in less than a week's time. Thrilled to have it back in Traverse City, really showcasing the future of our sport. It's going to be some great show jumping action as well as dressage.
Yeah, absolutely. There's show jumping and dressage action, all to be streamed live. Plenty of young talent to watch there. Some riders coming recently from the Youth Equestrian Games as well to these North American Youth Championships. Absolutely the pinnacle of things for them in their young careers.
Well, Luciana putting in a fabulous round here today, coming off a 2nd place finish in that 2-star 2 phase, that back on Wednesday.
Again, she's really not wasting very much time in terms of pace, but she's a little bit tight on time, 76.8 she's within that time allowed, crucially, but there's certainly pace in evidence there. Pace that we may well be seeing in action in the jump off, 76.8 and a clear round. That gives us our 8th clear round, 8 strong field going forward to that next round to the jump off. And this really has been the pinnacle of the 2-star action this week. And it's great to see so many of these riders jumping at Traverse City for quite a number of weeks now, really enjoying the action up to a very high level here over a period of time, enjoying the summer weather, the summer action at this quite unique venue.
It really is. It's also nice that there are so many people that call this home for the entire season. You know, Margie Engel has been here since week 1. We see a lot of staples that return for the whole season year after year. We also see riders that might pop in for a couple weeks here and there, you know, coming here for Major League Show Jumping. That also mixes the bag a little bit. So there's a really good blend of people and horses that come here to Traverse City each summer, and I think that that number continues to grow every year, as does the property. They're continuing to add more to it, improve things all over the property. So a lot of exciting things to come. The season's not over yet. We still have this week and next of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival, then 3 weeks of the Tournament of Champions in September.
Yeah, plenty still to come. Jonathan Miller for Canada up next with Isotropic Shadow, owned by Isotropic Networks. This horse is by Quintenda. Jonathan, of course, former World Equestrian Games rider, former World Cup final rider as well, with some of his very successful rides that he's had over the years. Isotropic Shadow is one that he's been competing since 2021. Had a recent win in Lexington at 2-star level.
Yeah, this partnership has not been together for very long, but it's been an extremely successful one, having a win in a 2-star Grand Prix at the Kentucky Horse Park, also placed 3rd in the Welcome Stake that week and 3rd in the Welcome the week before. So several podium finishes already for this pair. Just going to unfortunately pull that Just World International vertical. Not the first time we've seen that fall, probably won't be the last. But just a really promising up-and-coming horse, and Jonathan really gives it a great ride.
This is another pretty quick combination.
Yeah, it looks to be a very small horse. I know Jonathan is very tall, so he might make a normal-sized horse look a little smaller, but I do believe this is an especially small horse, so the natural foot speed is just really there, and I'm sure he can call on it when he needs to.
Yeah, for sure. Sadly, that one fence down, though, so gives Jonathan Miller a total of 4 within that time allowed, of course, with that pretty quick approach. On now to another rider who features on one of our Major League show jumping teams, and indeed who rode on the team last night in the team competition. Vanessa Hood comes forward. This afternoon she rides Easy Girl. Yesterday for Team Lugano she rode Castelretto for a few fences down, not necessarily her team's day, but certainly a team with a fantastic lineup of riders. Vanessa Hood is such a very talented young rider, really been doing so extremely well recently. Easy Girl is by Conthagos and is a 12-year-old now. Absolutely going from strength to strength as a rider, and I'm sure that she'll really, really benefit as well from riding alongside icons on Team Lugano like Kent Farrington as well. Such a unique experience for them to be able to jump together, and to really, for the younger riders, to really learn from riders who could well be some of their heroes.
Yeah, Vanessa Hood, very accomplished amateur rider, and her string of horses just keeps getting stronger and stronger. You know, horses like Castelretto that we saw her jump last night that she's been very accomplished with. This horse actually rode to a 5-star win with Kent Farrington aboard. Kent then passing the reins to his student Vanessa and putting in great rounds already. This horse with a 57% clear rate at meter 60, 59% at meter 50, so extremely careful. We saw this horse do quite a bit of winning with another Major League rider, Santiago Lambre. Just a lot of really solid miles put in by the professionals, now passing the reins onto an amateur rider. And I'm sure there's a lot of really big things to come for this pair, but still getting to know each other. So they have 2 down so far. Nothing terrible having happened, but just a few of the fine-tuned finessing moments that I'm sure they'll start to work out very quickly. And the last goes as well. I'm going to tick over into time to add to that.
Yeah, exactly. It's 12 for jumping and 4 for time gives Vanessa Hood 16 in total with Easy Girl. Just taking the last fence down there as well. Time allowed causing yet more problems. We're seeing plenty of riders have time faults. Certainly doable though in terms of a time allowed, but it is causing a few problems, as we were saying earlier, perhaps when we have some of the less experienced competitors or some of the less established combinations. They're just taking a little bit of time. Sydney Schulman Desiderio, though, is not one of those less experienced competitors. She's been competing at the top level for a good few years. She brings forward Classic Penny, this 10-year-old mare, here today. Sydney, of course, a previous medal winner at junior level in those North American Youth Championships that, as we were saying, next running of those will be taking place here at Traverse City next week.
Sydney is also not one to have a time fault. She's an extremely fast rider, and really the type of horse that suits her riding is that of this horse. All of her horses are fairly hot. They keep up a very natural foot speed. I was unfortunate at the Platinum Performance Vertical, just going to roll that out. But Sydney already taking top placings here in Traverse City. She won a National Grand Prix with her top mount, Villamora, bringing that horse back up to the 5-star level this week, giving this horse some excellent results. Also second in the National Grand Prix yesterday, and second in 5-star action just a few days ago. Or third, I believe, she took in that welcome stake.
Just as you're saying, she's, the horse has definitely got the speed, but it's just taking a little bit of the accuracy away here. She's just struggling to keep the horse jumping upwards rather than jumping a little flat, and so particularly in the triple combination and with the plank, those fences falling there. So sadly for Sydney Schulman, it's a fast time, 73.47, but she picks up 20 penalties, 5 fences down. That's going to have her a pretty long way down our rankings, but crucially we're looking for clears. We're looking for riders to join those 8 that are already through to the jump off. Those riders, just in case you missed them, are Giovanna Rinaldi, Nicolas Gamboa, Carly Ferti, Georgina Bloomberg, Natalie Dean, Karime Perez-Nunez, Luciana Roberta Gonzalez Guerra, and Sean Joban. Quite the star-studded lineup already in our jump off. Audrey Schulz is next up with Darkito, here riding for America once again. Audrey riding this horse owned by Riverbrook Sport Horses, a 12-year-old by Dinzeo. Jumps a little out of order in our list.
Audrey and this horse are only about a week into showing together. Their first week of competition was just last week. Purchased this horse from Andrew Bournes, and they started off with a bang, winning the National Grand Prix just this past weekend. So moving up to their first 2-star this week, it's gone very well for them so far. Audrey, still a young rider, but lots of top mounts, taking wins up to the 2-star level, I believe. Darkito also very experienced, 67% clear at meter 60 and meter 55. Was on part of the winning team for Major League last year here in Traverse City. That was the Lucky Charms. This horse rode to a double clear effort to help get that gold medal. But now the reins have been passed to Audrey. She is doing it quite well.
Yeah, absolutely. This looks like, you know, as you say, despite the fact that they haven't had too many international competitions together, they certainly have gelled very, very quickly. Audrey Schulz then joins those riders into our jump off. She is the 9th rider to go forward there with Darkito. Really great to see such a great partnership already at this early stage of their career together. Really striking little horse as well. So a 9-strong jump off is how we are seeing things go so far. We talked earlier about the fact that we have a pretty international lineup in our list this afternoon. Mark Kinsella represents Ireland and rides his own Quality H. Again, he's got a good few horses at a pretty top level, and Quality H is one that he's ridden right the way up to 5-star. Previously the horse was with Ben Asselin and ridden also by Nikolai Hein-Roos. Mark really taking over the reins more recently internationally this year.
Mark, another coming off a podium finish in that National Grand Prix just last week. 3rd placing. Of course, Audrey Schulz was the winner of that Grand Prix, Kent Farrington taking 2nd. And Mark, just incredible developer of young horses. Like you said, riding them up to the 5-star level. Also having trained with Ireland's Cian O'Connor, top Irish rider. I'm sure he learned quite a bit there. He then went to Canada to work for a little while and has found himself here in the United States, based out of the west coast of the United States.
Yeah, a rider who, as you say, he's been gaining experience over the course of his career in quite a number of different locations, but seems, you know, pretty settled riding over on this side of the pond.
He's good at riding a variety of horses too. This one, you can tell by the way that 5 Strides rode, has quite a big step. He also has some that are more built for speed. But just taking a moment here in this corner, it looks like he's going to call it a day, not going to jump down that last line.
Yeah, Mark Kinsella opting to retire, having the final element of the triple combination down, and I think, as you say, the horse has got quite a big stride and also potentially getting quite strong in this ring here this afternoon. Mark just opting to call it a day now and just use this as a bit of an educational round, I think, for Quality H. Well, Caitlin Campbell comes up next. She's a rider on the Roadrunners team. Rode in yesterday evening's competition with Paulina de Lesco for a few fences down. Here she rides Armentos. Armento's been pretty successful for her internationally, plenty of top 10 finishes and a really good clear round rate for this pair.
Yeah, if you look at the meter 55 level, they're actually 100% clear at that level. They've had 2 starts at that level, but clearly very capable. Unfortunately, just bringing the first rail of that tulip double down. But extremely careful horse. Caitlin, a very fast rider. If she makes it into jump off mode, she's really hard to beat. She and Polina, who jumped last night, topped a national Grand Prix in Temecula just this past spring. Riding for those Roadrunners, 2 5th place finishes so far this season for the Roadrunners, so kind of right in the middle of the pack at the moment.
Yeah, and this was the horse that she rode in Vancouver as well for a clear round for the team. Just sadly not going through to that second round. Very lucky at the C element there. But I'm sure this is going to be a combination that we'll see in the Major League team competition going forward for the rest of the season. That's a really nice performance. It's just the 1 fence down. She is a little over the time allowed as well. 2 seconds started over the time allowed, which is 78 seconds. So it gives her 4 + 2, gives her 6 penalties in total in this competition. Well, with Noemi VH Wittenshoff, Matthias Trump comes forward now. This is a horse by Castellino VD Heller. Matthias hails from New York. We're into the last 5 riders on our list. We don't have too many more to come, and remember we have 9 in the jump off so far. Matthias Trump, the next rider to try to join them.
This pair, of recent winner of the $100,000 Grand Prix at Hits Socrates, that just back in June. They were the only double clear effort to take that win. Not going to be a double clear today for them though, bringing down the Captive One Advisors vertical. But still a new partnership, so good things have happened already. Good things are surely to come.
Just having to fight a little bit with the horse heading to the fences down the end of the arena near the in-gate. Horse looks, I mean, I know that it's a pretty hot day here in Traverse City, but the horse is looking a little bit warm, perhaps one that has a bit of a tendency to get a little bit hot. Doing well over the delicate plank fence. Good to the last as well. Oh no, it's a late falling, late clipping pole at fence 13, just takes that back rail as well. Taking rails out around this course in front and behind, in fact. So again, probably quite an educational round for that horse, for Matthias. Sadly finishing with 12 penalties keeps them out of the jump off. Mark Blumen comes up next. He, of course, is on Team Helios, the team who were triumphant in the team competition yesterday, taking the gold medal, taking the top spot. There he rode Nortje van der Windheuvel for 2 fantastic clear rounds for the team. Great clear in round 1 and a brilliant fast clear in round 2 as well. Here though he rides Hanakeen. This is a horse by Baltic Sitter and is a horse that he owns, brings here from Wellington, but rides for Colombia.
This pair coming off top finishes at the 4-star level. That was their FEI debut together at the Devon Horse Show. They placed as high as 4th place together. Really great start for them. Still just kind of testing the gears here in Traverse City. Of course, this is an entirely different atmosphere and arena to ride in than that at the Devon Horse Show. Bit of a long one there at that Major League Oxer, but gets away with it. Bigger horse for Mark here. You saw him put in that double clear effort last night to seal the deal for Team Helios. Very impressive performance. It's good balance back for that Just World vertical.
Yeah, brilliant performance from the team yesterday, and of course it's so impressive that not only have Team Helios won 2 legs of this Major League team competition, but they've also done that with entirely different lineups of riders from one competition to the next. Just shows the strength and depth of their field. Mark Blumen continuing his fantastic run of results at a very good level here this week. Jumps clear, 76.04 is his time. It's very good on the clock as well. Mark Blumen is going to be our 10th rider going into the jump off. Certainly this is going to be a really exciting jump off. We've just got such a great list of young talent and established names. I think this is going to be quite a fierce competition. Speaking of those established names, I don't know if you can get much more established than Kent Farrington. Of course, former world #1, current world top 10 rider. And what this man hasn't done is hardly worth mentioning. Of course, team silver and individual 5th at the Rio 2016 Olympics. 5 World Cup finals to his name. 2 Pan American Games as well, and 1 World Equestrian Games. But so many medals in his career, and he's got some really brilliant horses. Had some fantastic ones over the course of his career, but he's got some great ones at the moment. He rides Orofina in tonight's 5-star Grand Prix. Remember, you can watch all of that action live on Major League Show Jumping. His other top ride is Gazelle. That's who he rode in the 5-star Grand Prix in Vancouver. Chateauloup is who he brings forward here in this 2-star competition, and Chateauloup is also a pretty consistent ride for him.
Extremely consistent. We saw him take 2nd place in the speed to open this division. That was 2nd to Connor Swale. The 2 of them were very close together in time, but basically in a league of their own when it came in turn. It's an unfortunate early rail for this pair, but already some top wins for them. Winner of a 2-star Grand Prix at Spruce Meadows recently. Actually took all top 5 results during that occasion at Spruce Meadows. Winner out of 80 entries in a $10,000 Open Classic in Wellington. So really it can be top contenders no matter the company. Not going to be their win today, but Kent Farrington already a winner here this week. Claimed that National Grand Prix yesterday on an up-and-coming 8-year-old. He's, of course, got his seasoned mounts here. Gazelle close to toward the end of her amazing career. So many incredible wins, but a lot of promise for the future for Kent Farrington. Unsurprisingly, he certainly has a lot of promising young talent in his string.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a fairly early draw in that 5-star Grand Prix. Kent Farrington will be 15th to go with Orofina. Definitely ones that you would want to watch. Of course, on Team Lugano as well. Of course, he rode there last night in that team competition was Austria 2. Just another of the fantastic horses that Kent has in his string. Austria 2, of course, the horse with whom he won the Rolex IJRC Top 10 final in 2019, and also who he came 9th with in that competition this year. Such an exciting string of horses. Just 2 riders are left on our lists in this competition before we will take a short break and then bring you the jump off, which of course is sure to be a really exciting point in this competition, and one that I certainly can't wait for. Tiffany Hammock comes next for the USA with Verdi au Merveille. This is by Verdi, as the name would suggest, and this horse is rising 14, so quite established combination and quite an established horse.
Yeah, really impressive little horse. Of course, with being sired by Verdi top mount, most recently competing with Michael van der Vleuten, but recently retiring from the sport after so many years of incredible results. But this horse also on to incredible results, took a 2nd place in a 2-star Grand Prix just this past October. Already showing promise. Helping to teach Tiffany the ranks of international competition. Just unfortunate to have that first fence down. It can be a bit discouraging, but she is not letting it get to her.
Yeah, it can be a really long way around these tracks if you have an early fence down, I think, and with 13 fences here, it's quite a lot to do. And you know, they're the pace was up, and I think he was getting a little flat for a plank fence there, perhaps needed a little bit more of a careful approach. So it takes 2 poles out on that fence to have that down. Tiffany Hammock gets 8 penalties here this afternoon, with Verdi Omeve not a rider going forward into our jump off, but we have one more on our list, but it looks like the course is now going to be prepared for the jump off. I think Jacob Pope perhaps not coming forward here. 10 in the jump off then, 10 out of our lineup of 49 riders on our start list, and we've had quite some impressive rounds coming forward. But in the jump off, you know, as we've been saying, we've got a real mix of horse types, a mix of riders. Certainly one that you will not want to miss. As you can see, the arena party just preparing the ring. We'll be just taking a short break for a few moments' time. We'll be bringing you the jump off in this 2-star Grand Prix competition in just a few moments' time. So do stay with us.
I'm Javin Dahlman with Dahlman Jump Co. Our easy-to-use aluminum schooling courses start at $65.99. We deliver them to your door and take your trade-ins. All of our jumps are backed by a lifetime warranty. Call and talk to an expert about your hunter, jumper, and equitation jump needs. You can even make your own custom designs. Get horse show ready with Dahlman Jump Co. And make sure to visit DahlmanJumpCo.com for more information.
The most successful journeys can start in the most unexpected place. A place where I'm encouraged, where I can learn with my friends, where I can fly. At Detroit Horsepower, they teach me the tools I'll take with me on my successful journey. Perseverance, empathy, responsible risk-taking, confidence, and self-control. We call these the perks. They're just part of what we do here at Detroit Horsepower. Our goal is twofold: provide opportunities for youth in Detroit like me, and contribute to the city's renewal by building our new facility on vacant land. Let's go on a successful journey together. Find ways to donate and volunteer at DetroitHorsepower.org.
Equifair really takes a different approach to product development and to the materials that we use in our products. We're always looking outside to see what the sports world and medical worlds are doing, and we apply that to the equine athlete. We love horses, so that's just what really fuels us to do what we do.
What makes good footing? More importantly, what makes safe footing? Is it the dimensions, the foundation, or the irrigation? What if we told you good footing is not a single aspect, rather the entire process, from the design and intended use to which arena builder you choose? With GGT footing, it's not just the most trusted arena additive in the world, but the experience and knowledge to ensure your footing is safe.
If you're looking to go out, go up, to get up and go. Whatever you're looking for, you and anyone you bring with you will find it all and more at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa. Get up and go.
One billion children worldwide live in poverty. They lack access to food, clean water, education, housing, and sanitation. When we provide children with these basic necessities, it not only transforms them, it changes everything. We are working to build a world where children feel secure and supported, where they have what they need to survive, thrive, and fulfill their potential. Alongside Just World, equestrians have become powerful forces for change by raising awareness and contributing to global efforts to eliminate child poverty. We know how to create a more just world. It starts with us. We can make a difference. We can impact the lives of children, families, communities, and the world. Together for a just world.
Welcome back, everybody, to this fantastic competition here in the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel International Ring at Traverse City. We're bringing you the $30,000 Cabana Coast 2-star Grand Prix this afternoon, and it's been a fantastic competition so far. A really star-studded lineup of riders and horses, and a pretty extensive list as well. We had 50 on our start list, a few withdrawals, but a really good lineup here, and we have 10 coming forward in the jump off. The first of those was our first rider out of the gate in the first round. This is Karime Perez Nunez with Camina K. They were impressive in the first round, Tori.
I mean, it's impressive no matter what to come right out the gate and jump a clear round, which is exactly what she did. She did it quite quickly too, no problem with the time allowed. Already one down on this short course though. Time is already pretty good though. So she could keep it to a quick 4. She could still stay competitive in this 10-horse jump off. She knew she had to come in and set the pace, make everyone else chase her.
Yeah, there's a good few places around here where they can shave off the time. This is our final fence from the first round, but it's now an upright and going in the other direction for the final fence. One down then, and the time for Karime Perez Nunez is 40.76 seconds. That, at the moment, is the time to beat. Well, that's our first rider out on this shortened course, this jump-off course. And we turn now to Colombia, to Nicholas Gamboa with Champions League. Horse owned by Maddie Morley. And they were our second clear round. We had 2 quite early clears and then we had a little bit of a wait. So the course here that they're tackling is fences 6 and 7 from the first round. Fence 6, this Major League show jumping Oxa. A swing back then to fence 7, the NetJets fence. Fence 15 is a new fence down near to the in-gate and up right there. Then they come back to 11A and B. Then tackle fences 2 and 3 after quite a tight turn back potentially just here, and then fence 16, the new fence. This time's looking pretty good as well. All fences staying up as well so far.
Looking really good. He did very impressive 8 strides on that new bending line there.
Cheers going up from the crowd. Some great support here for these riders today. And 39.06, that's the new time to beat. That it really is the performance that the riders have got to try and match or better. It's a clear and it's 39.06. I don't know that there are too many places that they can shave off more time. I think potentially at some of the early stages, because Nicholas was certainly picking up the pace later on.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a bit of a different build that might have some more natural foot speed there. That horse has a very big stride. Did 8 from 1 to 2, and then 8 across from the NetJets to the new fence that I walked, and even walking as big as I could, I still didn't quite get there in 8, so that horse clearly has a monster stride, covered the ground quite well, and definitely took the path necessary for this jump off. We'll see if some, naturally quicker horses might be able to slide in and take the same path but do so a hair quicker. I could see that happening, but we'll see how the rest of this class plays out.
Absolutely, they've really got to do what suits their horses, and a man who is perfectly used to doing that is Sean Joban. Rides for Canada. The logo that you see there indicates he's on the Show Plus Northern Lights team. Had a brilliant performance yesterday in the team competition for the bronze medal. Cuba Libre, though, is his horse here today. 76.58 in the first round. It was a good time.
It's like not quite going pedal to the metal between some of these fences. Staying very efficient, though. Could still get a very quick time.
Yeah, I think, as you say, it's efficient and it's quite sort of economical with the turns as well. It's a little bit slower, it's 42.4, but he's going to slot into second place with that clear round so far.
It's a bit of a tough spot to be in to go this early in the jump off. You aren't really sure what it's going to take a top ribbon. If you're going in with the goal of, I'd like to finish top 5, I don't need to go as fast as I can. It could be that we've had 1 rail down, but maybe the next 9 could jump clear and you could be much lower than you anticipated. But definitely putting in a good, solid double clear there for Sean Joban. Hopefully going to take home a top 5 finish with that result.
Yeah, I would say that it's certainly going to be the time to beat, and there are a couple of places here where they have the option to turn as tightly as they like. I think perhaps some of the younger riders to come might be going for some of those tighter lines. Next person to tackle this will be Carly Fairty. Carly's ride is Elite Chin de Saulieu. Just looking like a nice measured but consistent pace heading into the first fence. Similar approach to that first turn back. Oof. A bit sticky over the second fence here.
Just a bit. She so far is adding a couple of strides compared to what we saw from Nicholas Gamboa. Just hanging in the air slightly. This horse spends a little bit more time in the air than the horses we've seen.
Also that she trusts on that turn back to fence 2 and also on the approach to fence 3. I don't think she's going to make Sean's time, but she's not a million miles away. 41.24, so just a little bit more than 2 seconds in the end slower than the likes of Nicholas Gamboa. Sean Jobin, though, still remains on his 42.4, and Nicholas still retains that lead. 39.06, still the time to beat. Well, a lady who is no stranger to performing under pressure, both for her country and individually, and no stranger to performing under pressure as well, is Georgina Bloomberg. Semper Fidelis is her ride, and as we were saying, she's got some great horses in her string. We've seen some nice rounds so far.
Georgina's had an incredible circuit here in Traverse City. I think she'll look forward to more competition to come this fall. She's very quick around to the net jets.
Yeah.
Catching everything right out of stride, letting the horse really move forward. Probably the longest run here to that double combination. Little snug there to the Premier Equestrian vertical, but still on the clear. This could be very close. Gonna give it a full out gallop to the last.
Really nicely to the last, and the time is 38.65. Georgina Bloomberg takes the lead with Semper Fidelis, pips Nicholas Gamboa into second place as it stands. Carly 30 in third spot, Sean Joban in fourth, Karime Perez Nunez with the one fence down in fifth. We've still got 5 riders yet to come. But that new time to beat, 38.65. And I think now at this stage, with it's a little less than half a second faster than Nicholas's time. But there aren't too many places where they could speed things up, I don't think. Interesting to see how long Georgina hangs on to that lead for, or if indeed anyone can catch her. Giovanna Rinaldi is up next. Onermi van Het Wezenhof is her ride.
Gets down there in 8, even with a bit of a buck that probably sacrificed a bit of striding there.
Yeah, the horse just adding a little bit of zone flourishes. That's a good turn.
Really riding that turn nice and tight.
Yeah. Not wasting any time. Takes that Cabana coast fence on the angle as well. Really heading now to the last. This is quick. Is it quick enough? Oh, yes, it is. Just 38.37. More cheers going up from the crowd. Giovanna Rinaldi's fan base here in Traverse City really getting behind her. 38.37. We have a new leader.
It's great that the crowd's here so invested in every class. You know, I think there's a lot of build up for the evening classes, especially with last night's team class. We had quite the crowd here, but this crowd has not really thinned out for all these classes here today, starting with 5-star competition, now this 2-star Grand Prix. Crowds are gearing up for another exciting evening of competition tonight for the Major League Show Jumping Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's been absolutely action-packed throughout the week, and certainly today as well. Well, we move on now to our fastest rider from the first round of competition here this afternoon. This is Natalie Dean with .com Dorthreet. 72.7 was their time in the first round.
She was extremely fast already. She did the 8 to the 8, but with a lot more foot speed. Really naturally quick horse. Very careful as well.
Bit of vocal encouragement there from Natalie as well.
Ooh, about as daring as they come. That's definitely the tightest we've seen back to the Premier Equestrian fence. She's one from home. She's definitely up on the clock. She's got about 3 seconds up.
This
is going to be
seriously
extremely
good.
fast.
What a performance! 35.84. I mean, we weren't sure how much more time could be taken off there, but 35.84. It's nearly 3 seconds faster than Giovanna Rinaldi. Natalie Dean is really setting the standard here. What an amazing
was blazing fast. I mean, around from, you could tell she was on a mission, just picked up that gallop. The horse's stride isn't huge, and I think that really worked in her advantage because she not only was tight, but she was on a full gallop, and she still was able to get the same striding that all the other horses did. So I think she just rode that as really picture perfect, the best way that she could have, and everything worked out so nicely for her.
And brave, as you say, very brave around these tight turns, but she knew that she could trust the horse, and she knew that with that horse's speed in the stride, it was certainly possible, and absolutely performed for her, answered all the questions that she asked. Only 3 more riders to go. Only 3 riders could knock Natalie Dean off the top spot, and it is a pretty tough task that she's set them.
I wouldn't want to be the one coming in after that performance.
Yeah, we often say that it's of benefit to be later in the class, but certainly that's going to put the pressure on and put these riders a little bit on edge. But Luciana Roberta Gonzalez Erens, second fence down here with Erens, just having that fence down.
You know, like we were just saying about being so brave around some of these turns, sometimes you can be as brave and as determined and it just doesn't show up right, and that, I think, was what we just saw. She tried to do 7 from the first to second fence and just was not quite there in 7 and couldn't quite fit in that extra stride to keep the fence up. But already a really strong week for Luciana with that second place in the 2 phase. Also a clear round in the first round of this Grand Prix. I mean, so much to take away and be proud of for this young rider.
Yeah, completely. And, you know, just the 1 fence down here, so it really is something to be proud of. She's in 8th spot at the minute. Just slotting in behind Karime Perez Nunez. And we now have 2 more to go. Natalie Dean will be on the podium. She can be no worse than 3rd place now. 2 yet to come. Audrey Schulz is the penultimate rider coming forward with this lovely little horse, Darkito. They had a great round in the first round. They were making use of all the time available to them, coming home in 77.17 seconds.
This pair has yet to drop a rail in Grand Prix action together, winners of that National Grand Prix just about a week ago. Incredible finish for this young rider. Her first show with that horse, this just her 2nd show. Really opening up this gelding stride.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the riders' different approaches and see what type of horses are suited particularly by this course. But as you say, they've already built a great partnership up. This is also pretty quick. She is going very fast into what is now the double. See how she turns back here. Oh, really nicely done. This has got to be the one that's will be closest to... Ooh, was closest in terms of time to Natalie, I was going to say. But as you say, you've got to go for it, and go for it she did.
Exactly. I mean, you can't fault her for trying. That was still, so much of that was so good. So unfortunate there at fence 3, just not quite getting there in 7 strides.
Yeah, 100%. Just the 1 fence down for Audrey Schulz and Darkito. 40.29 at the time, so a little off the pace, but 35.84 is still that absolutely staggeringly fast time from Natalie Dean. That's what they've got to catch, and only 1 rider left who may well do that. It's Mark Blumen with Hannah Keen, 76.04 in the first round. So again, made sure that he made use of the time available, but he is the last rider who could knock Natalie off the top spot.
Definitely a very different type of horse from Natalie's, but bigger stride. We'll see how Mark uses that stride in his favor. It's the 8 done to the net jets.
Turned very quickly after the fence. Ooh, gave the pole a bit of a rub.
I'm just going to kick out that front rail.
Well, a couple of fences down now hands the win to Natalie Dean. Mark Blumen still. Horse just has that tendency to kick out a little with the back legs. Rubs the last as well, so it is 3 down for Mark Blumen with Hannah Keen going to put them into 10th place in this competition. But what an amazing performance. I cannot quite believe just the distance from Natalie Dean's time of 35.84, then down to Giovanna Rinaldi 38.37, just a fraction then down to Georgina Bloomberg in third with 38.65. That's going to be the podium. What an amazing performance and what an amazing competition. Natalie Dean is the champion of this Major League Show Jumping $37,000 Cabana Coast 2-star Grand Prix. Very well-deserved win.
Extremely well-deserved. She could not have ridden that any better, and she's already off to an incredible season here in Traverse City, just capping off this week so well. She still has another Grand Prix to show in today, too, so she could go 2 for 2. We'll see how she performs in that 5-star Grand Prix coming up at 6 p.m. But a huge congratulations to Natalie Dean, as well as all of our top placing finishers in this 2-star Grand Prix.
Absolutely. Natalie Dean will be 6th to go in that 5-star Grand Prix, but don't miss a minute of the action. We will leave you with the prize giving. The arena is just being prepared for that, but do enjoy the prize giving and do join us again for the 5-star Grand Prix later on this evening, kicking off at 6 p.m. local time.
Yeah, Kyle, that's going to take a little bit. That's going to be... You're like 75% or something. Copy.
Riders, if you would please turn and face the flag, and we ask all of you in attendance to please rise if you are able and remove cover for the playing of the Star Spangled Banner. Following the photos, we're going to hand out some champagne for our top 3 riders here in today's CSI 2-star $37,000 Cabana Coast Grand Prix. Popping bottles, because that's what winners do. We're going to ask our riders to please remount for the victory gallop. Ask our riders to please remount for the victory gallop here. Congratulations again to our top 3 in today's CSI 2-star Grand Prix. The 3rd award went to Georgina Bloomberg with the Simpa Fidelis. Georgina finishing 3rd with the 13-year-old mare by Staccato Gold, owned by Gotham Enterprises, penalty free in both rounds, 38.65. That jump off time for Georgina and Simpa Fidelis. 2nd award to Giovanna Rinaldi and owner Van at the Vianshoff, owned by Andrew Wells LLC, an 8-year-old Belgian sport horse by Thunder van de Zuidhoven. And the win, Natalie Dean, Palo Alto, California, and the Marigold Sport Horses.com Dunctui, and 9-year-old Self Francais Mare by Diamant de Semi. Natalie, when you're set, if you would please lead us on a victory gallop. Top call in today's $37,000 2-star. Going to Natalie Dean.